This is Victor. I'm here with a new Wargaming concept, and now I'm going to talk about the gunline or a gunline army. What is this about, and how is operating, and yeah, and what are the strengths and the weaknesses of this type of armies. So normally a gunline army is an army that try to work at the distances and shoot down the enemy from the distance. So trying to take a strong point, especially during the deployment, to deploy in a strong situation. From there they can have a good shooting vision and try to blast the enemy by shooting without moving too much and trying to focus all the units trying to the shooting. We have seen examples in 40k. Tau historically have a lot of build-ups doing gunline where you have a lot of units just shooting for the distances, helped by all the mark lights and with the long range of the weapons. But also in fantasy, historically, we have seen a lot of gunlines, especially with the dwarves, combining cannons and shooting units. So this is the base plan. So normally the base plan of these armies is to deploy in strong position and from there shoot and shoot. A strong position means that they have a good defense. Normally they can use terrain or they can use some equipment that will give them some extra cover if it's in 40k and also deploy in a position where they have a good line of sight to the enemy. Uh, so from and then from that position try to blast the enemy out of the table by shooting attacks. How to deal with these gunlines because sounds quite strong. There is one point that the gunline armies have to be careful of, and if depending on the table, if you have tables that have line of sight blocking elements, they can suffer because maybe they will have a blind way or blind side or blind angle. Uh, also, armies that have a lot of in 40k, for example, I will now talk a little bit about 40k or fantasy. Enemies that have disruptive units, and I will tell this in other units that can ambush or can strike or can outflank. So in 40k, for example, if you have drop pods, units on drop pods that can make damage in short, or can be go very fast in close combat. Uh, Units that can outflank and from there try to kill the main assets of the gun line. And in fantasy, you have to be careful with if the enemy is very fast and can be on top of you very easily, or if the enemy have ambushers that can also take you in a bad position. So other options in 40k, if you play missions, the gun lines can struggle to do the mission points. As I say, I have more experience in 40k, but the guidelines are very popular in 40k, especially in the 6th edition, where they were remaining stationary and then the last minutes were taking the objectives. No, with the milestone missions, the gunlines are not that popular. They lack mobility most of the times, and they cannot score a lot of points during the first turns. So depending on the mission and the type of cards that you are drawing, they can suffer if you play milestone missions. For the traditional missions or the old ones that where you only need to score the last turns, as the main objective is to shoot as much as you can during the first 4 turns and then use the last 2 turns to position yourself into scoring positions, they can still perform quite well. So that's all. So if you fighting them, try to use the terrain as maximum as possible. Try to use the terrain for your advantage and avoid the maximum shooting on you. And if you are stronger in close combat, go as fast as you can to the close combat and cut the gap between you and the enemy. If you don't do that, try to play the mission and see if by playing the mission you can win. Normally, if a gunline is well done, should have better range weapons than you, and should be able uh, to and will win you on the distance, unless you also have a gun line, and then it's just like flipping the coin and see who is shooting the first, and the one shooting the first most likely will have the upper hand in the battle. And that's all. So the guideline is that. So just summarizing, its army specialized in the distance is quite stationary normally. The guideline and will perform and will try to blast you out of the table, but by having a very strong shooting power. We have seen this in 40k as explained, especially on Tau, and we also have seen this on Warhammer Fantasy, and this time especially on Dwarf, and sometimes with the Empire. Yeah, that's all, and yeah, now it's time for you to give your opinion. Have you ever fight a gunline army, or have you experience with playing with a gunline? And can you share with us what are for you the strong and the weaknesses of a gunline? And in case you are dealing with them, how you are dealing with them? That's all for this video. I hope you find interesting, and yeah, I hope I will keep doing more of the reviews if you want to know more about the wargaming concepts and some of these basics. Uh, that's all for now. Please subscribe if you don't subscribe it, like if you like it. Thanks a lot for watching, and see you again later. Bye.